Hello guys, and welcome back to the Insights Tales. The excavation team saw a pipe going underground in the middle of a dense forest. This was quite surprising because the place where they were standing was an old dead volcano, which was completely covered by trees, plants, and grass. It was decided to send a night vision camera to see inside the pipe. When the camera went inside, after going down about 30 meters, a view of a very large tunnel was captured. It was March 2018, and the excavation team was about to see something unique, 30 meters below the ground near the city of Lublin in South Poland. When the camera was turned inside this tunnel, they saw a track there, surprisingly. They were still in a dilemma that what is the use of the track here. Then a mine cart standing far away caught their attention. When the local authorities came to know about it, they started investigating a mine during World War II. When we brought the map of the tunnel, we found out that this tunnel was built around 80 years ago during World War II, and for the past many years, local authorities were searching for this tunnel. The entrance of this tunnel was closed by placing heavy stones, after which years of soil and grass have erased the marks of its entrance. But from inside, this tunnel was exactly matching the tunnel shown on the map. Looking at the tracks and mine cuts inside it, it seems that it was used to store goods during the World War. Most of the iron items present in the tunnel had rusted. Tools like shovels, drill bits, and spades were found here in the same condition as they were kept by the soldiers of the Norwegian military 80 years ago. During World War, countries like America and Britain were competing with countries like Nazi Germany and Japan. During this time, Hitler's army forced thousands of people to go underground. Bunkers were built initially by Hitler, but later the Allied forces also started using underground tunnels and bunkers. In World War II, bunkers had a lot of strategic importance, and their purpose was for both defense and offense. That is, at some places their work was to avoid enemy attacks, and at other places they were used to attack the enemy. These bunkers protected from enemy airstrikes and artillery shells and provided a secure base to the soldiers. Defensive bunkers were designed on the front line in such a way that they could stop enemy attacks, like Germany's Atlantic Wall, which was a strong barrier against the attacks of the Allied forces. Also, some bunkers were used for planning from where the commanders managed their operations secretly. In World War II, so many underground bunkers and war rooms were constructed that today it is not possible to count them because thousands of them are still buried somewhere under the ground. It is said that in World War II, the Allied powers and Axis powers spent so much on underground bunkers that there was a shortage of iron and cement all over the world. According to an estimate, the cost of building all these bunkers was about $500 billion to $1 trillion of today. Understand that America's 20-year war in Afghanistan cost $0 million daily. So in World War I, it cost $460 million daily to build bunkers. This is the cost that was incurred only in construction. It is difficult to even estimate the cost of manpower, logistics, and ammunition in World War I. Let us go into the bitter memories of history and learn about a few bunkers. The Atlantic Wall is a very large coastal wall. It was a defense system built by Norway during World War I. It stretched over 2,400 miles, 3,800 kilometers, along the coastline of Europe, to protect against seaborne attacks by Allied forces between 1940 and 1944. This system included thousands of bunkers, ammunition depots, and forts. At that time, Hitler also occupied many areas of France. A part of the Atlantic Wall was also spread in Normandy, a region of northern France, where an artillery battery named Logus-Surmer was installed. These bunkers were designed to face heavy bombs and to give defensive fire during attacks. If we talk about Norway, Its lower part could be used to stop the Allied forces coming from the North Atlantic Ocean. That is why Hitler had buried some parts of the Atlantic Wall here too. Forts like Christian Sand protected the naval routes here. Apart from this, Netherlands was also under the control of Norway at that time, and thousands of bunkers named Safe Onion were built on the coast of the North Atlantic. This entire Atlantic Wall of Germany included underground bunkers, depots, tunnels, artillery batteries, and forts were included in the building of Fritz Todt, a German engineers company. 260,000 workers, most of whom were prisoners, were forced to build all these structures in just 2 to 4 years. Even today, some parts of the Atlantic Wall exist as historical monuments that give us an idea of the engineering of World War I and the expenses incurred on it. When Hitler built the Atlantic Wall, the Allied powers had no idea how much difficulty they would have to face in the future. Then, in 1942, an incident happened which opened the eyes of America and Britain. The Canadian forces, which were part of the Allied powers, planned an attack on the region of Debs in France, which is remembered today as the DF Raid. The purpose of this attack was to understand the Atlantic Wall built by Hitler and how it works with these strong concrete structures. Bunkers badly thwarted the Allied attack. The Allied troops, who were trying to land on the coastline, became the victims of Nazi Germany's powerful crossfire. This was a big setback for the Allied forces because they had relied so much on the strength of the Atlantic Wall, out of which 3,600 were either killed or taken prisoner by the Nazis. After Deep Rat, the Allied forces realized that if they had to successfully attack Hitler's regime, they would have to invest a lot in the planning of bunkers and defense systems. Therefore, a lot of money was spent on the construction of bunkers and tunnels in the United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, and Canada. The Churchill War Rooms were built in an underground complex. It was the headquarters of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill during World War I. But that too was designed in such a way that Germany could remain safe from Germany's airstrikes. France's Maginot Line was built after World War I. Here too, new underground bunkers and tunnels were built. France was confident that this system would protect them, but in World War II, Germany used the Maginot Line to attack Belgium. On the other side of the world, Japan, which was supporting Hitler in World War II, also dug hundreds of underground bunkers. An entire network was built under the EO border, which included hidden artillery positions, storage rooms, and living quarters. These tunnels were used for surprise attacks during the attack of the Allied forces. The bunkers and tunnels of Anwa were on a larger scale and were more complicated. Thousands of Japanese soldiers would be in position for defense and resistance. This defensive system was designed to discourage Allied invasions and kill as many people as possible. The engineering of the bunkers built by many countries during World War I is no less than a miracle. First there was the war. On top of that, there was a shortage of everything, and along with all these challenges, there was a danger of airstrikes every passing moment. Workers also died of suffocation. But despite all these challenges, the British Army was able to fight in the Battle of the Rohingya. Despite this, thousands of bunkers were not only built, but many of them are still hidden under the ground in the same condition. Especially those built in the Axis power countries, because after World War I, when their rule ended there, the soldiers either closed the entrance of the bunker and ran away, or died inside it, so no one came to know which bunker was built at which location. There was a way to find out the location of all these bunkers and tunnels, and that was the secret document with Hitler's government. And on top of that, the construction of underground tunnels were brought into, or they were hidden in a place, which was known only to the person who hid them. Especially these bunkers were built in camouflage. They were built in natural terrain, in such a way that no one could know that there was a military bunker here. This is why, after the war, these bunkers remained hidden. Special ventilation systems were made for underground bunkers, which brought fresh air inside the bunker and took out carbon dioxide. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler used many bunkers during his rule. The famous bunkers used by him were Eagle Nest, which is also known as Kielstein House. It was built in Überschlag, Germany, for secret meetings and relaxation. Using concrete and granite, it had features like bomb-proof. Hitler's second famous bunker was not the Fuhren bunker in Berlin, but it was completely covered with a brick wall. The bunker was the headquarters and was designed in such a way that it was safe from Allied bombing and artillery. Hitler spent his last days here and ended his life here on the 30th of April 1945. Today, no part of this bunker is visible on the surface, but this place has been a dark chapter in the history of World War II. Now, let's talk about one such bunker of Hitler, where he spent most of the days of the war. This bunker named Wolfson looks more like a fort than a fortress. It is located in the middle of the forest in North Germany. Inside it, Hitler's bedroom and the office suite around it were made of a roof of about 7 meters thick. A thick layer of gravel made the entire fort-like bunker safe from airstrikes and bombing. A thick steel sheet door also protected from chemical attacks. This bunker, which looks like an Egyptian tomb, was so strong that even today it is not possible to destroy it, and the security was so much that not even a single window was kept in it. A special ventilation system was installed here, which circulated fresh air inside the entire bunker. But despite so much security, this bunker was made invisible in the forest landscape. Soil was put on its roof, and the same trees and plants were planted on it which were present in the nearby forest. Due to this, when any ship passed from above, it would not have even the slightest doubt that Hitler's headquarters was present here below. The Allied powers, USA, UK, Canada, and other forces planned for years to break the strong defensive bunkers of Norway, Germany, and the Atlantic Wall. More than 156,000 troops, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 aircraft were used to counter the Atlantic Wall built by Hitler. It was the day of June 6, 1944, which is remembered as D-Day. On that day, Germany faced the Allied forces with the bunkers and artillery of the Atlantic Wall. But their planning and resources were not that effective. Allied airstrikes and paratroopers countered German communications and defense. The Allied forces suffered heavy losses initially, but eventually they succeeded in breaking Nazi Germany's control over Europe. I hope you will like and share this video of Insight's Tales. See you in the next great video.